Hello, I'm happy that you're here. I have been wanting to do this 24-hour reading challenge for a while now, and I just keep stressing myself out about it because I literally cannot just read a whole bunch in 24 hours. I have two young kids. I've got my part-time job is starting up soon, and that's just not feasible. It's not available to me to just read for 24 hours unless it's at a time where my kids are away or it's like a weekend or something. So we're not gonna be able to read just for 24 hours. But what I am interested in is how much do I actually read? How many books do I finish in 24 hours? So I think that's going to be the question. We're gonna do a countdown timer, and we're gonna count down 24 hours and see how much I read. I honestly don't really know if I'm a fast reader. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I think I'm like a mid-speed reader. It might just depend on the book. So I kind of wanna see how much I can do. So we have a couple of books that are in line to be read right now. So I want to read The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. I have not read a thriller book yet, and I have heard good things about Frida McFadden, so I thought that this would be a good author to start with. And I think that this is a standalone book where I know that I think it's The Housemaid by her is more of a series, so I thought a standalone book by Frida McFadden might be a good place to start with her. So that will be my Kindle read. I have usually 3 books on the go, guys, so we're gonna be bouncing around a little bit. The other book is Red Rising by Pierce Brown, and I have had this from the library for probably 4 weeks now, and I haven't really read much. I think I have gotten to page 20. I'm just still in that world building phase where you're just learning the background, trying to understand a little bit more about how the politics work. This is a sci-fi book where everyone is kind of split into class factions. We're following Darrow, who is currently on a Mars colony, getting it ready for higher society folk, basically. So this is real working class sci-fi space situation. I think there's going to be some kind of overthrowing the government or trying to infiltrate the government. Not quite sure. I'm not that far in, and I don't really get a lot of synopsis for books before I read them. I would rather have the vague concepts than even character names, honestly. So I don't know much more about this book than that, but I am 20 pages into that. And then finally, I have just canceled my Audible subscription because I have 8 credits currently going, and I just can't listen to enough books to get to that point. I need to slow down a little bit with how much money I'm spending on subscription services. So I have canceled my Audible, but the nice thing is that you can still access the credits you've already purchased. So we're trying to burn through my credits right now. So for an audiobook, I'm going to be starting Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. And this is a romance book. It had a disclaimer at the beginning about there will be some intimate scenes in whatever chapters they said. And I'm not sure what the tropes are. I don't know really much about anything yet. I am 23 seconds into the first chapter, but what I do know is these are feuding second grade teachers, and from the gist of it, one of them is leaving the job currently. So that's where we are right now. That is the starting point of what books I'm going to be consuming for the next 24 hours of reading. I don't know which book I want to start with. Obviously it's nighttime now, done the bedtime routine, done it tidy and everything, and now I think I can finally sit down and read. It's 8:30 at night currently. I am thinking we go Locked Door. Do I want to do that? I'm alone right now for the week. Do I want to read a thriller? Let's see if I get too scared. Between between last night and this morning, I have gotten about nearly a third of the way through The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. I'm like, okay. I'm not fully hooked, and I'm like 95 pages into a 311 page book. Now's the time though. So I'm not feeling very hopeful that I'm gonna get into this much more than like the level I'm into it, you know? It's not enough to stop because I'm still interested in some aspects of the story, but I'm not feeling that, I'm not feeling gripped. I'm not feeling fully immersed. Usually in like a 300 page book, I feel it around like between pages 30 to 45. I feel like I'm hooked on a story. I'm not quite feeling it right now. But it is, however, the first day of spring, and I think that today the weather would be perfect. It would be a great day to take the cover off of our porch swing and sit on the porch and do some reading. To try to finish The Locked Door tonight. I am on page 143 currently, and according to my Kindle, I am 45% of the way through. So I think I can read the like 165 pages that are left in this book tonight. I think we can for sure knock those out. So that's what we're gonna do. So what we are gonna do, I don't know if you can see, but we're gonna ignore the stain on my shirt from me shoving ramen into my face, okay? We're just gonna do that. I finished The Locked Door by Frida McFadden, and then I had to take my kids up to bed, read them their stories, and now I'm just like sat in the chaos of my house. But before I do anything, I wanna tell you about this story, and hopefully I can do it before my camera dies. I am looking to get into new genres. I just read a lot of fantasy. Like that's like my highest genre read. So I wanted to branch out into a thriller. I don't really read a lot of thrillers. So I thought Frida McFadden seems pretty like entry-level thriller. I've seen her all over the internet. I have a few friends who've read some Frida McFadden. It's like a name in thriller. Sorry about that. My camera actually did die. I'm not gonna base my feelings about the genre or Frida McFadden in that case on just one book, on one read. I did not enjoy this. I'm gonna give this like a 2.75. I wanted to keep reading because I was interested to know the whodunit, but I didn't find a single likable character in this book. I wasn't rooting for the main character. And the whole concept was even fascinating. Like, woman has a serial killer father, like what kind of stigma, trauma comes along with that, feeling like you are like that person, what does that mean, you don't want people to get close to you, etc. There was just, the relationships were weird. Like there's like a love interest element that didn't make sense to me. Like I don't understand how these characters even like each other. I don't understand how they ended up in the same location. That also didn't make, like too many things did not make sense to me. Like the why of it all. It like too many coincidences. I just was not a fan of it. But I still wanted to know. I wanted to DNF this around halfway. Halfway through, I was like, I really am not vibing with this, but I also really do want to know what's going on here. Was this close to just looking it up? Like so close to like spoiling it for myself, because I was just like, let's just get to it, because I don't want to like wade through like 75 more pages, I think, at that point to get to the point. I did it and it was fine. It's an interesting twist. Also, it just didn't make much sense to me either. Hope I didn't put myself into a slump because of this book. We'll see. I'm not writing off the genre. I think that'd be silly to do based on one experience. I'm not even like fully writing off Frida McFadden as an author either. I feel like I would be willing to give her writing another shot just to be sure that like maybe her books maybe aren't for me. So what I'm gonna do now, because my house is a mess, I think I might put on my audiobook and listen to like a chapter or two while I do a quick little tidy. I'm obsessed with inputting all of my pages or minutes watched into my Storygraph. I love the data of it all, and sometimes I have to stop myself from just opening up the app and looking at the data that hasn't changed because I am spending my time looking at the app instead of reading books. But I'm not super invested into this book yet. Obviously, I'm only like 3% of the way through it right now, so I think I'm gonna save that for more like choresy stuff. I'm realizing we're on day 3. This is where we are right now as far as our countdown. Like this is a countdown. Didn't take me 19 hours to read Freedom McFadden. Do I want to read more? I don't know that I really want to read. Maybe we'll just let that simmer and then we can start Red Rising in the morning. Okay, we've just finished Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. And honestly, I listened to a lot of it yesterday. I didn't record it because when I'm doing an audiobook, it's either I'm doing chores like you've already seen, or I'm just like laid down with my eyes closed, or I have like an ambiance video playing on YouTube. So I'm not gonna record that. It's just imagine me laying down, my eyes closed. This is what it looks like. But I did stay up until 2 a.m. listening to the book last night, and I did enjoy it. I think first initial rating, I would say a 3.5. And it took me a minute to kind of get into it. I think I had it in my head, I expected it to be a certain way, so I had to like pause and just let it be the book that it is. I can't remember if I mentioned this or not yet, but this is the 3rd book in a serial romance series, and I did not read the first 2. I did not know the first 2 existed. I just jumped into this one. It looked interesting by the cover when I was scrolling through Audible trying to figure out a way to spend my credits that I'm not replenishing. It almost makes me want to listen or read the first 2, but I've already got an idea of where those characters' stories go, because what it seems like to me is that this is going to be a 4-book series, but currently there's only 3 books out right now. This is going to be a 4-book series that follows 4 siblings through their love journeys. So I know how the first 2 end because I'm in the 3rd book. I don't think though it took anything away from learning about this main character, who is Emily. She is the 2nd oldest of 4 kids. She is very much the caretaker. So we get to follow her on her journey of the first 2 siblings who have already like paired off. They don't need her anymore. And the other sibling is off doing more like work fulfillment outside of their hometown. So she just doesn't feel needed. So it's interesting to follow her arc. She's also marketed as not likable to begin with, just like kind of spiny, kind of like very blunt, very get stuff done. I don't care if I gotta steamroll you, I'll do it. So it does make her a little unlikable, but that I think is the point, because as the book goes on, you start to understand her more, and I started to like her more after we get like more backstory about her character and why she is the way that she is. I found myself rooting for these 2 characters. I had a lot of fun with them. I think they make sense. I think they said the word nemesis too much. It's meant to be like an enemies to lovers situation. I don't quite see it, like as far as like nemesis, like they use the word nemesis too long. I'm just like, I think you're holding on to past relationships too much. She's like 32, but her high school relationship is haunting her adult relationships, which I think there should have been something in between, a little bit more than some guy who cracks eggshells into the eggs, like just being like careless nobodies. I think there maybe could have been something else in there, but overall I did enjoy it. I'd say 3.5, maybe a 3.75, but not quite a 4, I don't think, for me. That might be one I have to sit on for a minute to really decide my rating, but I did have a great time. And I am really loving this phase I'm in right now of sitting down and listening to an audiobook and just listening. Like not doing something, but just sitting and closing my eyes or like sipping my hot drink and just holding it in just like a dark space and just getting the story that way. I am so enjoying right now. I'm like not having to be productive while I get this story read to me. Has been really great. I'm really enjoying that aspect right now of audiobooks. We have a little bit of a busy day today. Like we have a very busy weekend of like outings and stuff. So we're about to head to a kiddo birthday party, and then I'm sure I'll see you tonight, and hopefully we can start picking at Red Rising. I don't know what my hang up is about it. I'm just having such a hard time. I think it's because I've read the first 20 pages to like get into this book. So I'm kind of nervous about it. I don't want it to put me into a slump. And I'm really glad that this book was better than I was expecting after the first chapter. So maybe I can give that same feeling to Red Rising, that maybe just let it be what it is, not what you expect it to be because of reviews. That's where we are with that. So we've gone to 2 different play centers over the last couple of days, and it's just been hectic and busy, and I've been in children play spaces that have been so loud that by the end of the birthday party that we went to today, I could feel my like anxiety level was super high because I was just so overstimulated from all of the sounds. And I'm sure my kids are exhausted from how much running and playing they've done, how much socializing they've done, which is all great things. But upstairs, after I put the kids to bed, I started reading something on my Kindle. So I started reading Phantasma. I don't know much about this book other than I think it's got romance in it. According to Storygraph, which you can follow me on Storygraph if you're not, and then you can see the books I'm reading currently, like right up to date and everything. It says that it's a fiction fantasy horror romance, so that's fun. I don't read a lot of horror, so great. I just keep putting off this book. But I need to stop putting off this book because it's due back at the library in like a week and a half. I don't know why it's so hard for me to try to read this book, but I also don't want to force it. So I pick up Phantasma. And so far, it's definitely gripping. In the first 21 pages that I've read the first 2 chapters. You're already getting a glimpse into the magic and how it's passed on, because it opens up with her mother dying and she has to take on the family magic. So I don't know what that quite means yet for her. Ophelia is her name, the main character's name, but I'm vibing it. I'm vibing it so far. I think I've been wanting to get back into a fantasy. We still have 10 hours to go. Okay, I feel like I can't stay on task with a book, and it's weird to not have an audiobook on the go. So I have just found through Spotify, like my Spotify minutes have just rolled over, I have found The Strawberry Pancake House by Laurie Gilmore, which is the 4th book in her series. The first one was The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I read that one on my Kindle, and I've listened to the next 2 in the series, and I like the audio book version of it better. I also think that the first book in the series was not the best. And the only reason I have continued the series is because I've listened to it. I would not have read these books based on the first book. However, I do enjoy the audiobook version. So I've just found it on Spotify. It's also like just come out, I think, within this past week as well. and it is about as long as I have left in my time for this challenge. So I think an audiobook is definitely going to help me reach my 24 hours, because like I have started reading Phantasm and I'm 5 chapters in right now and I am enjoying it, but with the kids being around, it's easier to like do a bunch of reading if some of it is audio. So I think only trying to do one audiobook during this 24-hour stint is just also not how I read. I am such a mood reader. Like right now I've got Red Rising 20 pages in still, and then Phantasm I'm 37 pages into, and I will be reading that some tonight. But right now during the day while I have my kids and they need stuff and I am trying to tidy up my home, I just need to start a new audiobook. And that's why we've picked up the Strawberry Pancake House. But all of these books will be in a reading wrap-up video, so if that's already out, or if there's no way I'm going to be finishing all 3 books that I have on the go right now, but they will be done by the time this video comes out, so you'll be able to see my thoughts on those books, even if it's not in this video. Okay, so you'll have to excuse the robe. We're hanging out after a little shower. Here with my mom's dog, that's Stella. So I'm about 22% of the way through the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. Like I've said, I've read the first 3 books in this series, and like the first one was ugh to me, and then this next 2, the second one's my favorite, but the next 2 I liked a lot more since I started listening to the audiobook. The narrator is decent. I have a good time with that. Oh my gosh, this guy here. So I am fully aware of what I'm getting myself into. I know it's gonna be like probably a standard like 3.5 experience read, but the thing that's driving me nuts about it. So a man named Archer comes to Dream Harbor, which is the town we are in this series. It's a little New England town, very quirky. So this guy comes because he learns that he has a daughter with this woman who just recently passed. So she had died in a car accident, and now he is a brand new father of a 5-year-old that he didn't know existed. And through family circumstances, he is the best option to send this kid with or give the custody of this kiddo to. But because he needs to work to prove that he can take care of the kids, so the lawyers and everything, the courts will be like, yes. No, I don't know that the courts are truly like that. So he hires a nanny, this woman that lives in the town. She made an appearance in the last book because she does kind of like seasonal-ish, part-time-ish jobs, and she needs something to get her through the warm season until the winter season, when she goes back to the Christmas tree farm from book 3. It's single dad nanny type of trope we've got going on. But what's driving me nuts is that they're talking to this 5-year-old, and I have a 5-year-old who just lost her mother, her sole parent, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and they keep talking to the kiddo, calling Archer dad, your dad. What do you mean, my dad? Like, just knowing my 5-year-old, I'm not quite sure that this author is taking into account like how developed 5-year-olds are. And the fact that all of these town members, whenever they're like, I understand you want to get this girl to warm up to this man who is about to get potential custody of her, because her grandmother, who's the only other relative, just isn't capable of taking her on. Why don't you tell your dad blah blah blah? I don't know this man. This kid does not know this man. Stop it. Call him Archer. Let her decide if she's gonna call him dad. That is nuts to me. It's just wild behavior. We're wildin'. I look to my son, who is 5. If he had a surprise parent come out of the woodwork and then everyone was referring to that grown-up as mom or dad or whatever, he would be like, no. So that part has just got me rolling my eyes every time, because what a terrible thing to try to force on this kid who just lost their sole parent, and now you've just brought me in a new parent to replace. Let the kid call him by his name and start referring to him as dad. Like, I understand that he is her biological father and he is willing to take on this new responsibility of a child, but no, what a, like, you're gonna fuck this kid up even more doing that. You're not letting her adjust to the thought of even having a dad. Like, she's not had one her entire life. The whirlwind of, like, losing your mother and then being forced to take on a new parent who is a stranger. I am hating. I am despising. It is making me roll my eyes every time. Seems wildly inappropriate that they keep doing that. So that's kind of where I am with that book. We are chugging along so slowly trying to reach this 24-hour mark. I technically have 6 hours and 3 minutes left of my 24 hours. I think that whenever I finish the next book, we are going to end this video. And I don't know which book we're gonna end with yet. Either Strawberry Patch, Pancake House, or Phantasma, which do very wildly different vibes. Because this is bleeding in too much of my regular life and making reading too much homework, because it's been like a week and something real time for me of trying to accumulate 24 hours of reading. But you didn't come here for the complaining, you came here for the book, so let's move on. We're officially done. We have done the 24 hours of reading. It elapsed way too many days. But we're done. We are finished. Your angle's a little bit weird. Let's adjust that real quick. I finished the Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Lori Gilmore. This book was the worst, in my opinion, of the 4 books, and I did not like Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I give it a 2-star experience. I had it at a 1.75, and then I was like, I feel like a 1. It's like I should have DNF'd. And I don't think it was quite that level of unenjoyable, so I bumped it to a 2 to just kind of convey a little bit more that it wasn't quite a I should have stopped reading this book. But I just was not a fan of the characters, honestly. So we follow Iris and Archer. Archer is a single dad. He just recently found out he had a 5-year-old kid. Iris is kind of like flighty and does like more odds and ends job, so he ends up hiring her on as a nanny. He has to prove that he's a stable environment for his newfound daughter. And the relationship part, I think, was too much of the focus between the two of them, which I guess I don't like the single dad nanny trope. I don't like it, I guess. If you do, like, maybe you'll like this, but I just thought that there wasn't enough focus on the stress of, is he doing enough? How is this child acclimating? And like I said before in my big rant about it, I thought that the characters were wildly inappropriate and were not considerate of this 5-year-old girl who just lost her mother, and now they're referring to this stranger to her as dad. I hated that. I hated that. I hated every single grown-up who did that. I hate that there wasn't a grown-up to be like, she doesn't know you. She shouldn't give you a term of endearment until she decides to. Because this kid is rushed to call him dad, and like she finally does call him dad, she doesn't know what else to call him because all the adults are like, what's your dad doing? What is Archer doing? She does not know this man. It's wild, wildly inappropriate, and just like inconsiderate of this kid. I'm gonna go off on a rant. I think that was my biggest like feeling about this book. Like, I did not like the approach to this, to the kid dynamic in it. I don't know, that was just kind of a ending, but that's how it goes sometimes. I don't know. But those are the 3 books I read. None of them were over the top. I think the best one from this video was probably Beg, Borrow, and Steal. It's probably my favorite book that I've read in this video, but I will be doing a like month wrap up. I have done month wrap ups. If that is something that you're interested in, if you're feeling like our vibes are aligning, don't forget to check those out. I'll like link them and stuff. But that's gonna be all for this video. It took too long, but I had fun, and I hope you did too. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.